Imagine you're sitting around a fire. It's 10,000 BC. The wind is cold, the stars are ridiculous, and someone just dragged home the most absurdly over-engineered deer you've ever seen in your life. We're talking about an animal the size of a draft horse, wearing a hat made of bone that weighs more than your 10-year-old nephew. Welcome to Extinct Eats. I'm your host, and today we're breaking down the Irish Elk Megaloceros giganteus pound for pound, part for part, in the only food guide it will ever receive. Because it's been extinct for about 7,000 years, so nobody else is doing this. That's on us. The Irish elk was not Irish. It was not an elk. It was a giant deer that roamed across Eurasia from roughly 400,000 years ago all the way to about 7,700 years ago. It stood 2.1 meters at the shoulder. That's taller than most NBA players and weighed between 500 and 700 kilograms. But none of that is the headline. The headline is the antlers, 3.7 meters wide, 40 kilograms on its head. Every single day, just wandering around with 40 kilos of bone strapped to its skull like it had a point to prove. Diet, pure herbivore. Grasses, leaves, shrubs, bark. Think of it as a 600-kilogram lawnmower with an existential crisis. Closest living relative? The fallow deer. Much smaller. Much more sensible life choices. Now, let's eat it. The backstrap and loin, our opening act. This is the prime real estate. Upper back, running either side of the spine. Pure lean muscle. Silky, mildly gamey, slightly sweeter than beef. This is your grill cut, your pan-sear cut, your impress the tribe elders cut. Just don't overcook it. Lean venison dries out fast and nobody is forgiving you for ruining the best piece of meat on a 600-kilogram prehistoric deer. The hind leg, feeding an army. One hind leg off this animal is enough for a barbecue that runs 3 days. We're talking rump, topside, bottom round, all bold, all deeply flavorful, all slightly tough if you rush it. Braise it, slow roast it, slice it thin for a stir fry, or dry it into jerky that lasts until the next ice age. The ribs, kayak paddle edition. Yes, the ribs on an Irish elk are approximately the size of a kayak paddle. You will need an industrial oven, a very large pit, or an extremely committed group of friends. Braise them, slow grill them, or drop them in a soup pot the size of a bathtub. Season heavily. They reward patience and bold flavor. The hump, the crown jewel. This is the cut nobody talks about because nobody knew it existed. The Irish elk carried 40 kilograms of antler on its head every single day. To do that, it needed a system of thick neck and shoulder muscles anchored by a powerful nuchal ligament. And those muscles, trained daily like a prehistoric powerlifter, developed extraordinary intramuscular marbling. We're calling it the Atlas cut. Sear it whole. Serve it on a hot salt stone. This is the cut you save for the chief. There are maybe 2 to 3 kilograms of it per animal. Treat it accordingly. The tongue, the Neanderthal's favorite. This animal spent its entire life tearing up tough grasses, shrubs, and bark. The tongue is a 60 to 80 centimeter block of pure, hardworking muscle, 2 to 3 kilograms of it. Once you peel the thick outer skin after a quick blanch, what's underneath is extraordinarily soft, deeply flavorful, and genuinely revelatory. Braise it in red wine, pickle it, grill thin slices over charcoal Japanese style. One tongue makes enough filling for tacos to feed the entire hunting party. The muzzle, jellied gold. I know what it looks like, but hear me out. The muzzle is pure cartilage and collagen. When you braise it low and slow and let it cool, it sets into a natural jelly with a texture of bouncy, flavorful gelatin. Think ear of pork, but thicker, richer, and prehistoric. Yes, you need to be very thorough with the hair removal. We recommend patience, possibly meditation. But the payoff? It literally sticks to your lips. That's a good thing. Bone marrow, God's butter. The femur bone of an Irish elk is roughly the size of a structural column, 60 to 80 centimeters long, 8 to 12 centimeters in diameter. Inside, 500 grams to a kilogram of pure golden marrow, roasted in the bone. Scoop it out. Spread it on toasted flatbread with herbs and something acidic to cut through the richness. One femur contains enough calories to power a hunter for days. Share it. Seriously, don't try to eat this alone. The belly and shoulder, use with restraint. The belly is the fattiest muscle cut on the animal. Beautiful flavor, calorie dense, best eaten in smaller portions or braised into a stew. The shoulder has great flavor but plenty of connective tissue running through it. It needs time. Braise it, mince it, soup it. Not your quick weeknight dinner, your long Sunday project. Neck, shank, and the collagen club. Neck and shank are where patience becomes a superpower. Both are dense with connective tissue. Both will resist you if you cook them fast. Both will reward you with extraordinary, silky, gelatinous richness if you commit to a long braise. The shank especially makes a bone broth so thick and flavorful it practically walks out of the pot by itself. The organs. Heart, liver, kidneys. Heart, lean, firm, needs a rinse and a hot sear. Genuinely delicious if treated with respect. Liver, rich, iron-heavy, slightly bitter. Soak it first. Don't overdo the heat. Kidneys, strong personality. Mandatory brine soak. Wine-based sauce recommended. All three require fresh sourcing and clean handling. These are not left in the back of the fridge ingredients. Velvet antler, spring gold. Before the antlers harden into bone, there's a brief window every spring where they're soft, vascular, and full of collagen, glucosamine, and bioactive compounds. Traditional medicine cultures have used deer velvet for over 2,000 years. Slice it thin as carpaccio, braise it with herbs, or infuse it into spirits. It is extremely potent. Eat modestly. This is not a snack. This is an event. Stomach, intestines, and deer tail. The stomach has 4 chambers. The honeycomb chamber is the prize. Clean it thoroughly, braise it long, and it becomes a silky, flavor-absorbing wonder. Think fondue. Think menudo. Think trippa alla romana. The intestines are best used as natural sausage casings, premium ones, the kind you can't buy in a supermarket. The tail is a collagen-rich herbal braise ingredient, classical and traditional medicine contexts. All three require serious cleaning commitment. Not for beginners, very much for adventurers. Brain and spinal cord. We're skipping these. Not for drama, not for squeamishness. For one specific reason, prion risk. Some neural tissues in animals carry prion proteins that cannot be eliminated by cooking. We're not doing that. Moving on. Nothing to see here. All right, time traveler. Before you fire up the Pleistocene barbecue, a few words from your friendly neighborhood food safety advisor, who definitely also came back from 10,000 BC and learned some things the hard way. 1. Source everything from someone you trust completely. In the Ice Age, that's your best hunter. In the present day, that's a licensed, reputable supplier. 2. Keep it cold. Dead prehistoric megafauna spoils just like everything else. Keep it chilled until it hits the fire. 3. Clean, separate, cook, chill. Different boards for raw and ready to eat. Wash your hands after handling the intestines. Wash everything after handling the intestines. 4. Cook it thoroughly, especially the organs, especially the tripe, especially anything you had to clean 5 times before it smelled acceptable. 5. Follow local food safety guidance, even if local means the mammoth hunters in the next valley over have opinions. Brain and spinal cord, skip entirely, no exceptions. That rule applies across all time periods. The Irish elk disappeared from this planet somewhere around 7,700 years ago. Climate change took the grasslands. The grasslands took the elk, and the world lost what might have been the most spectacular, impractical, and genuinely delicious large animal to ever walk Eurasia. Tonight, we remembered it the best way we know how, with a cutting board, a cast iron pan, and entirely too many questions about marbling. If you made it this far, you're one of us. Like this video, subscribe to Extinct Eats, drop your most unhinged prehistoric food question in the comments below, and as always, what's extinct is on the menu. See you next time.